So the chatter in the UFC world. Did you guys see Francis Ngannou's
Yep.
tweet?
We need to talk about it.
Oh, what is
This is Ngannou's tweet. It's crazy to think that Logan Paul, 0-1, just made $20 million on a boxing exhibition.
All
What are we
caps.
doing wrong in caps? And he was in the audience, by the way.
Paul Acosta said he's not fighting. Paul Acosta is that guy, the big juice up guy that Izzy took out. I think he said he's not fighting until they work on like fighter pay.
Yeah.
In the UFC. So it is kind of interesting, the ripple effect of what the Paul brothers
I'm telling you,
have
the
done.
Paul brothers are
brothers?
breaking MMA. It's fascinating to watch. And Jake is the guy that started it. Dana White has got to be like, what the fuck, bro?
Technically, it's Logan.
Yeah.
Logan fought
Logan
this guy named KSI.
No, yeah. I meant Jake was the one that went at UFC fighters, and he started going specifically like, why are you getting paid so much?
They're starting this
That
movement
specific
this weekend
scene.
in Miami was the Bitcoin conference, and he did a panel with like Tim Dillon and the
Timmy,
Winklevoss twins, and he was calling Dana White a bitch at a huge conference for Bitcoin, and it's just like, this is what we're doing. These fighters are getting paid enough.
I need to hear the argument from. I didn't hear the argument from Dana because yes, they're taking way more money from these fights, right? But they have way more overhead, right? Like the UFC has like actual physical facilities that they have to maintain. They are their own promoter. There are way more costs that they have. Their overhead is way higher. The promoting of all these fighters, etc. So I'd like to see what their takeaway is after you calculate in the PR that they're constantly pumping out for all their fighters. They are the promoter for every fighter on the roster. In boxing, that is not the case. The WBC does not promote whoever's fighting for the heavyweight Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury promotes Tyson Fury. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to do MMA where you're your own promoter, that's fine. I know a lot of those fighters in MMA right now that do not want to do that.
Right.
I know a lot of those guys just want to be gym rats, hang out there, let Dana White and the UFC build the folklore around them, and then go out and fight. And they'll take less money because they don't have to do it. I mean, put it this way: if you don't speak English, you're fucked. If you don't speak English, there's no chance that you have of winning over an American audience without a promotional enterprise like the UFC helping you out. So, of course,
If
it's
Khabib
easy.
didn't have Conor, how much would we give a fuck?
It's a great point.
Do any of the UFC fighters, besides like obviously Conor, like get at least a tiny percentage of numbers so you're always at least hedging against?
You mean like of a pay-per-view? I think they do.
Probably the elite.
Yeah.
I bet Izzy's at that.
But is there a
point.
way to give that to across the board to anyone that's on some of the main fights, even a percent, even just they know?
Look, there's ways. There's ways. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I need to know the numbers from the UFC side before I call them these like money grubbing pigs, right? Because they might just have way more overhead than Fan Mio or whatever it is. Because Fan Mio doesn't need to promote the fight. It's easy for the Paul brothers who have these like robust social media channels to say, hey, you should be paid more. They should be paid more because they're doing the PR.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, who should be paid more? Right?
But still, even in regular boxing, real fights, the purse is a lot bigger. So it's like
I think that goes down. I think that goes down because I don't think regular fights are generating the income that they used to. I think it's one of those things like it's almost like baseball where it's like this legacy sport and the guys are already making so much.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're like, these TV deals are going to go down because nobody's watching baseball.
Yeah.
And once those TV deals go down, those huge salaries, they're going to start tanking as well. I think the same thing will start happening with boxing.
Yeah.
And let's be serious with boxing. Most boxers are making absolutely nothing. We're talking about just the cream of the crop.
Now, that's what. Yeah, your point still stands about overhead, but one of the reasons boxing viewership is down is because UFC is taking it.
Yeah.
They're dominating market share. So even if
And
overhead
why
is
are
higher,
they dominating market share? Because their PR is better.
Yeah.
They're selling their fighters better. They got fighters that have 10 losses that we still watch. That doesn't exist in boxing. Think about it. Like, you can be a UFC fighter. This is your job security. You can be a UFC fighter. As long as you're signed to the UFC, we'll probably watch you. If you're a boxer and you have 10 losses, we're asking you to retire. We're going, hey, it's over for you. You don't have a shot. They're a legacy UFC guy. Cowboy Cerrone, if he wants, can still fight.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
We'll still watch it. The guy hasn't won, I think, in like 5 years or something like that. It's unbelievable. So once you're part of, there's value to that machine. How much of your salary is that worth? How much of your salary is it worth you not having to win every single time you go out and still get paid the next time? The same amount. In boxing, you get paid the millions as long as you're winning. The second you lose, you might be down to 1/10 of your salary.
right?
In the UFC, you make the same every single time with potential upside if you're maybe doing a pay-per-view or something like that. All I'm saying is there might be an argument from their side. Would I like them to get more? Yes. I want fighters to make all the fucking money. But I need to know the true numbers for the UFC before I say that they're just raping all the fighters. Is that fair?
Yeah, but one thing that makes you skeptical of Rip is they have shareholders. And if you got shareholders, that's the number one person you're trying to please. So you're going to try to keep profits as high as possible, to keep stock price as high as possible. So that's where I'm a little skeptical. Also, I was wondering about UFC just now. Is it popular because
Amazon don't have profits?
What do you mean?
Actually, the model now is you don't need profits. You don't need a profitable business.
Oh, to keep your
Yeah, you really just need the share price to be high.
You
And
need
how is
people-
the share price high? Is people are talking about your company and
people
using your
believe
company.
that it'll grow.
Yeah, so in a weird way, they don't even need a profit. They can take all the money, dump it right back into business. As long as WME stock goes up,
Right.
WME owns the UFC, everybody's fucking happy.
Right.
Isn't it crazy?
That's valid.
What world do we live in right now where your business doesn't need to be profitable?
You just got to believe in it long term.
Fuck
That's it.
me.